far as those things are concerned, the first half of the year is going to be bad. Major investment bankers are saying the second half may be better and probably will be, but they don't have anything to hang their hat on right now. So, with that said, I think what we have to take a hard look at here is worrying about losing your job, and what you should be doing, if that's a possibility, and it's always is, by purchasing dehydrated and freeze-dried foods, and also have a water filter, and make sure you can defend your family. And those are prerequisites, because lots of people are going to get laid off in the next year or two, and this will eventually turn into a depression. We're already seeing signs of inflationary depression, and we have for the last 2.5 years. That will get worse if they continue to print money and credit. Quantitative easing is a euphemism they use nowadays for that. And you have to kind of insure yourself, and you do that by doing what I just said. And if you have more money, you buy gold and silver coins and shares. And I know it's all been a rocky road, and the ups and downs over the past 3 years have been horrific, and it'll continue that way. And the dividing line will be this, and that will be what is happening in Europe now, in the United States and England, is but a precursor of what is to come. Now, the European economy is on its knees. Even Germany is not in that good a shape. Their debt to GDP is 83%. Not good. Not bad. It's not 120%, which puts you in the collapse category. And so we're going to have an upside-down situation in Europe. There's no way they can solve their problems. They're trying to, under this crisis, jam in to the remaining members of the Eurozone, and I think they're going to lose at least 6 of them. And that'll happen over the next 6 months to a year. And it probably started up with Greece. They'll default, and there'll be these tremendous losses in securities, bonds. And also, the banks will be in serious shape. They already are. This will put them over the edge. And we're going to have the same guy just described a part of that. And England is a basket case. And what's going to happen is that it's going to lead to severe financial dislocation. And so what's going to happen is that in this process, the German leadership, a bunch of ex-communists, if you may, they are going to try to shove down the throat of the Bundesrat and the Bundestag, House and Senate, a measure, because it's needed to save everybody, where the Germans and others give up their sovereignty. Now, it has nothing to do with anything except one world government. And if they're successful in doing that, it'll be a disaster, because the fiscal policy, first of, say, the 10 that are left out of 17 in the Eurozone, will go down the chute. And eventually, all the EU members will be involved. And that'll be the end of Europe as we know it. And it will collapse. Now, in this process, it may collapse sooner. And there's a good chance of that. The reason why is the financial situation is not tied to just 6 countries. Belgium's in there because they haven't had a government for 2 years. They had a government for 1 year before that, and in the time before that, for 3.5 years, they had no government. And so other Balkanized nations with the Flemish in the north and the Walloons in the south. And so you get 2 distinct, different languages, different cultures, different thought processes. They even have segregation there. If you're a Walloon or you're French, you have that apartment building over there, and the one down the street down here belongs to the Flemish. And that's true. I mean, you talk about segregation. Anyway, that's the reason why Belgium is in trouble. Now, what's going to happen? I see that late today, the United States, maybe it was NATO, said that they are going to make the skies over Syria no-fly zones. The Russians are sitting with 2/3 of their naval force in Libya. Syria, excuse me. And they have a large quantity of fighters, planes, which are better than anything the U.S. or any of the NATO players have. And their missiles are better. And so they're a match for the U.S. Navy, which is in there with a number of ships. If the U.S. tries what they tried in Libya, Russia will be forced to come into the fray. And they will be assisted by China. And we will have a 3rd World War. And the reason they're doing this is as a distraction, because they cannot extricate themselves from the situation they're in Europe, the UK, and the U.S. And that traditionally, time after time after time, has been the way that they have extricated themselves, or at least tried to, historically. Now, how does that all affect us? Well, being in the middle of a war sucks. Finally, that happens. Our military force can't handle it, and they'll start drafting. It's called selective service. And they're going to end up pulling the possible revolutionaries off the streets in America and sending them over to Syria or Iran or wherever they're going to go. And all of these problems will be visited upon this terrible war. The war did it. We didn't do it. We had it all figured out. War came. And we had to defeat those terrible, crazy Muslims. And so this is the way that all that thing is going. And who causes all this? The bankers do. The bankers have always been the winners. But this time, we know what they're up to, how they're doing it, and we're telling everybody. And they're going to have a hard time getting away with it. But more important, and this is the most important part of the conversation, the key to the power of darkness behind the world scene, the bankers, and their control of finance throughout the world. And if the financial world collapses, and you're not going to like this, but it's going to happen to you anyway, whether you like it or not.
That's true.
Either you lose your life or you lose your fortune. The only people who will financially survive are people with gold and silver-related assets. So with that said, what is going to happen is that hopefully the whole financial sector throughout the entire world will collapse. It's not going to be nice for us. There may well be a war on. But the bankers will be out of business. Their source of power will have been emaciated. They will no longer control us. And then we can try them, take all their wealth away from them, and those who committed treason, put them in jail.